Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're diving into something, well, really personal actually.
Oh,
Yeah, you know how sometimes you come across something and it feels like you're looking directly into someone's deepest thoughts?
yeah, I get that.
Well, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from our source material today.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So we have these excerpts from a video, right? And it's this artist, Lee Lemon, and he's creating a series of drawings. But they're not just any drawings. He's doing them as like a tribute, a way to remember his brother, Kendrick, who passed away.
Wow, that's heavy.
It is. And it's amazing to see how art can become like a way to deal with those really tough emotions, you know?
Totally. I mean, art as therapy is something we hear about, but to actually see it unfold like this.
Right. And what's striking is how these drawings, they become more than just portraits.
I was just thinking that. It's like you can see the layers of grief, being worked through with each new detail he adds.
Exactly. Yeah. So like in the beginning, he starts with these super quick sketches. It's almost like he's trying to grab the memory before it slips away.
Yeah, like an urgency to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's focused on getting the likeness, the personality just right. But then he starts adding these other things, like grass and these earthy textures.
Interesting. It's almost as if he's bringing in nature, right? Surrounding Kendrick with this sort of natural beauty, like creating a space for him there.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Like grounding the drawings in something that feels, I don't know, eternal, maybe.
Exactly. And the way he uses the grass, too, these long flowing blades. I mean, think about it. It described his brother as being really free-spirited, full of energy.
Right.
Well, the grass, it almost mimics that. Like he's capturing that essence of Kendrick's movement.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not just drawing Kendrick, it's drawing the feeling of him.
Spot on.
And then there's this whole shift. He goes from sketching to painting, right?
Yeah, and that shift in itself is super interesting. At first, it's all about capturing that initial likeness, right? Almost like clinging to the memory. But when he switches to painting, it seems, I don't know, more thoughtful. Like he's slowing down, allowing himself to explore the grief more deeply.
Right, like maybe moving from that initial shock to a place of acceptance, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
And with the paintings, he starts to experiment more. Different poses, layers and layers of paint to give it depth. But like you said, the nature elements, they're always there.
Always. It's like
Oh.
nature is this constant source of comfort, and he's weaving that right into the artwork.
And I think we've all felt that, right? When you're going through something difficult, just being in nature can be so, I don't know, grounding.
Totally. Lee seems to be tapping into that same idea, creating this space of peace, of remembrance within the art itself.
Yeah. And speaking of expressing emotions, there's this one line Lee says that really got to me. He says, "This piece is not just about the art. It's a way for me to say goodbye to my brother Kendrick Lee Lemon in a heartfelt manner."
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you can just feel the weight of that statement.
Right. And it makes you think about how art can hold so much emotion,
Mm-hmm.
raw, unfiltered emotion. And then when he talks about adding the final touches and how with each stroke, he's thinking about all the good times they had together.
It's like those memories become part of the art itself.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes this way of keeping his brother's memory alive, Makes you wonder about what role art plays in all of our lives.
Definitely. It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever turned to some kind of creative outlet when you've been dealing with a loss? Or even just to connect with someone who's gone?
That's such a good question. And it makes me think about the role nature plays in that too. Whether it's art or music or just being outdoors, how does nature factor into your own experiences with grief or remembering someone?
I think that's something worth thinking about. I mean, we all have our own ways of coping, and sometimes those creative outlets can be incredibly powerful. Actually, I remember when my grandmother passed away, I wasn't much of a painter, but I had this urge to use her old watercolors.
Really?
Yeah. And as I was mixing those colors, it was like I was mixing my memories of her at the same time.
Wow, that's beautiful. It really shows how art can help us process those really tough emotions,
Absolutely. And it reminds us that, there's no one right way to grieve. We all find our own ways to express it.
I think that's a great point to end on. This deep dive into Lee Lemon's work has been incredibly moving. It really makes you appreciate the power of human connection and all the ways we find to express love and grief.
Couldn't agree more. And it leaves us with something to think about. Imagine all the stories that are behind the objects, the things we keep close to us. What do they tell us about the people we love and the memories we hold dear? So, as you go about your day, take a moment to look around. What stories do those objects whisper to you about the people you love and the moments you cherish?